this channel, we are absolutely no strangers to our favorite luxury brands. And we are also no stranger to their incredibly high prices for certain items. You know, it's pretty common for brands like Gucci, Chanel, Hermes to charge, $5,000, over $10,000 for something like a handbag or a leather jacket or maybe even a pair of boots. So we're kind of used to that in the luxury world. But I have been seeing some crazy expensive items come out recently from our favorite luxury houses. And so I just wanted to talk to you about them because as someone who myself, purchases a lot of luxury, there's no way I can fathom buying any one of the items on this list. And so I'm curious, are any of you all buying the items that we're going to talk about today? Definitely let me know down in the comments below because truly, my mind is blown. To put it into context, the things that we are going to talk about today, we are going to go from the least expensive to the most expensive, and the least expensive item starts at $10,000. So starting out with this relatively inexpensive bar set from Fendi, the Fendi Olak bar set from their Fendi Casa collection, so that's their Fendi home collection, for $10,200. I could not believe it when I saw this when browsing the Fendi website. I was absolutely blown away. And so, I was like, surely there's something in this that justifies the cost, right? There's gonna be some type of precious metal. There's gotta be some type of really fancy design or etching or just something that's gonna make $10,200 make sense. Make it make sense to me, Fendi. And I looked and I can't find it. So first I was like, okay, the metal's here. The metals have got to be special. Nope. The metal you see here, it's brass. It is palladium colored. So the silver material you see is palladium colored. So it's just like a thin coating on the outside, probably painted on there if I were to guess. I don't know for sure, but probably would guess. The Fendi Olak, it is golden colored. So again, just a thin little layer, probably paint. The only really special material that you see here is the wood. And so it's oak wood. But I can't imagine that much wood would cost $10,200. And then when you get past it, it's not like any of the items are that special, in my opinion. And I hate to say that because I am a Fendi fan. You all know this. But look, there's a cocktail shaker. There's like a little corkscrew wine key. There's a little shot glass that you can use to make your drinks and measure out, what you're pouring in, a little jigger, if you will. There are 2 mixing spoons and there are some reusable metal straws. And let's be honest here. We have all seen a very similar type of cocktail making kit before. We've seen this anywhere from like Target and TJ Maxx to places like Crate and Barrel and West Elm and probably even some more expensive places. I'm sure Restoration Hardware has got their own, bar set that I haven't seen. But at the most, maybe on the most expensive lens, it would probably be like $200, something like that. So I've got to say, I think Fendi is kind of taking us for a ride with our money here because I just don't see what makes this so special. And on top of that, to add insult to injury, this is all hand wash only. You can't even put it in the dishwasher. So for me, it's going to be a no dog. I am not going to be spending $10,200 on this Fendi bar set. And moving on to one of my favorite brands, Hermes, but one of the most expensive brands out there. I was shocked when I saw this suitcase on their website. And not only that, but I have seen this RMS suitcase for $12,500, not just for sale at Hermes, but I've also seen it for sale on several different pre-loved sites. And I think there's a very specific reason for that. Because if you look at this suitcase for $12,500, and it is not even a fully leather suitcase, I cannot get over the price. Now, Hermes does have several other similar suitcases that are fully leather, that are around a similar price. At least that I can justify because whether it be leather or metal, at least it's a more durable material. But this one here is on the list because you see all this colorful fabric right here? That's canvas. A canvas suitcase? Are you kidding me? Now, granted, someone who can afford this type of suitcase, they're probably flying private. They're probably not flying commercial. So I get it that it's not going to get as dirty as the luggage of us, mere general population that do fly commercial flights. But still, if you were just to like look at this suitcase wrong, it would get stained and it would probably be very hard to clean that suitcase. So I'm not understanding what justifies the cost. And if I'm being really honest, what's up with the print? The print is not that cute. I don't really understand it. It's like they kind of did some little Hermes letters and it's very cute and stylized, but it's not aesthetically pleasing. It's not something I would want my suitcase to look like. And you all know I'm the biggest Hermes fan. I love so many of their different items, but this just doesn't do it for me. And if you open it up, you look at it, it looks like a lot of other suitcases you see where there's one side with like a little zip around, so that way you can kind of enclose some of your items without them falling out when you open up the suitcase. I don't even see, like the double strap on the other side to also keep some other items secured. So for me, between the canvas plus the lack of functionality in this suitcase, I do not understand why anyone would spend $2,500 on this suitcase unless they were buying it as Birkin bait. Because if you think about it, the price of one suitcase is very similar to the price of a Birkin or Kelly. And we know in order to get offered one, you got to spend about 1 to 1 in order to get offered one. So this would be a fantastic piece of Birkin bait to buy. You buy the suitcase, you get offered your bag, and then you sell the suitcase to Fashionphile or The RealReal, and that's why I think those suitcases are on there. Now moving on to Dior, and I've got to start by saying I recognize that I may not be able to fully appreciate this item because I am not a fine art lover or collector. And so for people who are, this item may have much more meaning and much more significance to them. But to me, what I see here is a vase for $16,000 with a fairly standard Dior print on it. Now I do recognize that this is not just a Dior vase. This is a Dior vase that was done in partnership with a name that I'm not going to attempt to say. But this is a famous, ceramics house. I believe it was started, I can't remember the name of the family, but a famous family started it. This is a very important artistic house that partnered with Dior to create these vases. And so I understand that this is probably made out of nice materials. I understand that there's a big art house's name behind it, but you can't tell me that this vase looks that much different than any of the ones we see, again, at the typical types of home goods store we go to. Now, obviously this is a Dior one, right? And so we can get a premium price for it, but I'm shocked that this is $16,000. If I saw this for like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, this wouldn't have made the list. Although still incredibly expensive, it would have made a lot more sense in terms of like the world of luxury brands. But $16,000 for this vase, please help me, make it make sense. I know it's of a set, so it's numbered, and art collectors love that. It feels very special and exciting to get like 1 of 5 or 1 of 25. I can't remember how many there are. But help me understand this one, because there's no way I'm gonna spend $16,000 on this Dior vase. Now we're really getting up there in terms of price, because now we are moving on to this Mal Chien from Louis Vuitton, and it is a cool $36,500. And as we see, there's an adorable little puppy here. So we can see that this is for our furry friends. And I don't know about you all, but I'm willing to spend the last dollar I have in my bank account for my dog. So I also understand that if I were a crazy rich person, I'd have no problem splurging on this beautiful little like home resting situation for my dog. But still, this is $36,500. That's a down payment on a house. That is the price of a very nice car. I mean, this is crazy. And to me, what's shocking the most about this is that this doesn't actually look that big. Now, if this were $36,500 and it was something like 6 feet long, it might have not made the list. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But this is quite a small little pet carrier transporter trunk. And in addition to that, you can also open it up nicely. And so it's kind of like a little resting pad for a dog. Like you could just like put it in a corner similar to like you would like a little dog bed or something like that. That's a lot of money for a pet carrier, right? And for me, I mean, my dog Joey, she's a little bit too big to be carried around like that. So we don't use stuff like this. This is typically for people with smaller dogs, like 10, 20, maybe even like a 30-pound dog maybe could fit in here. Joey's too big. But if you're using a pet carrier, don't you want it to be something that you can easily wash on the inside? Don't you want it to be something that is of a material that's quite durable for a dog who's going to be in there for a while? I don't get it. Now, I will say, with Louis Vuitton, they are famous for their trunks. That is obviously how they came to be who they are today, was from their luggage. And so there's a lot of heritage, and there's also a lot of detailing that has gone into this piece. We see the hammered in details here. We see all of the different like gold accessories throughout. You know, you can see all of the different monogram and everything. But at the end of the day, the monogram leather that you see here, it's not leather, it is coated canvas. And even though it's very durable, that's all that it is. And I'm just not sure that the price of this is really justified for the size of it, or is it really appropriate for the use case? Again, this is someone who I cook my dog's food, so I'm willing to do a lot for my dog, spend a lot of money and spend a lot of time on them. But for $36,500, I can't do it. It won't be me. Now, next up we have Gucci, and we have this $37,000 poker set that is enclosed within a crocodile case. Not croc and bust, but crocodile. And we know exotics can be very expensive. So truth be told, if I'm thinking about the price of things and what they cost, whether or not we agree with them, things that are crocodile, things that are alligator, those are definitely always going to be 5 figures. It would be very difficult to find a crocodile or alligator anything for less than $10,000. And sometimes they're $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So the fact that at least the case is crocodile makes this a little bit more palatable to me. But I guess maybe if you're like a pro poker player, you know, and you're living in Vegas and you're living your best life and you're making millions each time you go gambling, okay, fine, maybe this makes sense. But for the average everyday person who is not a professional gambler, unless you're just really trying to flex when you host poker night at your house, this is truly crazy. And on top of that, I'm gonna be very honest here. Although I do like the look of the exterior of the case, I think it's beautiful. I know not everyone likes exotics or agrees with them morally. I do really like the look of this case on the outside. I think it's very chic, but the inside of it, I mean, do you like the inside of it? To me, it just doesn't make sense. I think that like the printed little, I think they're lions in the background, that part I actually like a lot more than the poker set itself. These are just, what, like gray and white little like splatter paint chips and cards? No, it's a no for me. Now, I'm sorry to bring us back to Hermes, but I saw something else on there that I had a really hard time with the price. And it is this sofa Cellier armchair for $59,300. This is a seat for one person, maybe 2 if you are trying to snuggle with someone that you love very much. But this is a one-person seat for $60,000. You could buy a BMW for that price. You could buy a Mercedes for that price. You could buy a very exotic Birkin for that price. This chair is crazy to me. And it's funny because when I was looking on the Hermes website, I've seen before when I look at their furniture, like they have, you know, sofas and settees, you know, much bigger pieces of furniture for over $100,000. And although like I'm not in the market for a couch that's over $100,000, people will spend like $20,000, $30,000 at Restoration Hardware on a big couch, you know, something like that. So to me, that made a little bit more sense because if you take the average price of something and like triple it, like that's kind of what the Hermes price would be. But I do not see many people wanting to spend somewhere in the $60,000 price range for one chair. And not only that, but I think if I were to spend $60,000 on one armchair, one, the design would have to be so unique that made it worth it. Sorry, Hermes, I love you, but this is a beautiful chair, but it's quite a regular everyday chair. Like you could find something similar to this on a lot of furniture stores. So I don't know about that. And not only that, but it's not like it's made out of leather. Leather would make it more justifiable in my brain, but this is actually made out of canvas. You want to spend 60 bands on a canvas armchair? Oh my gosh, I could never. I don't get it. I do not understand. So for me. Again, I know I keep pulling a Randy Moss, but this is gonna be a no for me, dog. Now we're really getting up there in terms of price, and here we have this Louis Vuitton ping pong table for, look, I'm laughing as I say it, for $84,000. Now I will say, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and quite a few other brands do have some very expensive pool tables, some for over $100,000. And again, although incredibly expensive and overpriced, pool tables are quite substantial. You know, there's a lot to them. There's a lot of wood, there's a lot of felt, there's a lot of finishing. You know, it's very special piece of furniture, if you want to call it, or playing equipment. I'm not sure exactly what you want to call it. But a ping pong table seems much lighter overall in terms of materials. Like they're quite thin, you know, and it's not like they've got a lot of edging on them. It's a very thin table with a little net and some little legs. So this professional size ping pong table at $84,000 truly is a shocker. Now I'm not a total hater, and I can definitely admit that I actually really like the look of this ping pong table. I think it's cute. I think it's different. And I think if I were someone that lived in this big mansion, like little playhouse, like Wonderland, where I can buy whatever I wanted, I would definitely want one of these. There's no doubt about it. But I just can't believe that it's still $80-something thousand. I could see like 20, 30, but over 80 for a ping pong table. It just takes me back to high school, where I remember our gym actually had some ping pong tables in the corner. And then you've got this. I just don't think you need to spend $84,000 to have a very cool ping pong table. But again, please tell me if I'm mistaken. Please tell me down in the comments below. Do you see the value in this, or am I just being a total hater? And now we have hit 6 digits. We are now into the 100,000s, and I've got to talk to you about this pen here from Cartier for $138,000. Now I know that I like to spend my money on some frivolous things. And I know that I've bought things that a lot of people would not agree with. But when I think about what I could do with $138,000, that is a life-changing amount of money for so many people, for so many families in this world. And people are out here buying $138,000 pens. Wow. What is it like to be rich? I have no idea. Anytime I think I'm doing all right in life, I'm gonna come back to this video and it's gonna remind me that I've got a lot more work to do before I can sit back on my laurels. Now, I know that pens are like this entirely different world that I have no appreciation or understanding for. My dad is a pen guy, but I thought, you know, they were just pens that were like hundreds of dollars and even thousands of dollars. I did not think they would be hundreds of thousands of dollars. It just had never occurred to me that a pen could cost that much. Now, to Cartier's credit, I will say, this is more like a jewelry piece that happens to be a pen, because if you look at the description, there are precious stones throughout. There are diamonds, there are emeralds, there is real gold here. So, I mean, compared to a lot of the other things that we've actually seen here on this list, we know that precious stones and precious metals actually are incredibly expensive, and good pens do have very special mechanics. So I will say, in terms of materials, this probably makes more sense than a lot of the other things we've seen on the list. But again, for $138,000, that could buy people a whole home. That could buy multiple cars. This could be college tuition for like an Ivy League school for a few years. I mean, this is wild to me. And it's funny because I think about myself and I have the inability to keep a pen, you know, in my purse or in my desk. Anytime I set a pen down, the pen is gone. So I guess I just think of pens as like one-time use things, even though they shouldn't be. So I don't know, maybe if I were to get a $138,000 pen, maybe I'd be more mindful and I'd be sure to keep track of my pen. I don't know. But this one also incorporates something very similar to like the Dior vase art piece. It's of a set, you know, there were only 8 of these ever created, and so they would be numbered and you would be special and you'd be part of this cult that has this very special pen. Honestly, I just feel like it's got to be like mobsters and like crazy insane business tycoons that need this pen, where basically they're doing a business deal and they go to sign and they whip this out and everyone immediately knows who's got the biggest you know what in the room. I feel like that is why this pen is used. So I don't know. It's like a jewelry pen. It is crazy to me, but if Cartier's selling it, chances are someone's gonna buy it. And finally, I've got to show you the most expensive thing, or the most extravagant thing that I found while looking. But there is a caveat that all the items I'm showing you, these are just the things that these brands allow to be shown online. We know these brands have way more expensive stuff that they don't even show, you know, the mere peasants like us online. All of their made to order stuff, all of their top VIP exclusive items that you can't even see. You can't even find a photo of them. That's how exclusive they are. So although this is the most expensive on this list, it's definitely not the most expensive thing that exists. But it is this Gucci GG Supreme jewelry trunk that is made to order. So what I like about this is at least this is 100% made to order, totally customizable. You can customize the interior, what it looks like. You can customize the exterior and what it looks like. You can customize how it's designed and what slots you have where and what types of compartments you have where. So at least you're getting a totally custom experience. Now, I do wonder what the turnaround time is on something like this. I bet it's probably at least a year, but who knows? I have no idea. So at least you are getting this beautiful luxury experience where you're getting to build and craft something totally unique to you. And if I'm being honest, this item actually kind of makes the most sense to me out of all the stuff on the list, because if you are rich enough to have this much jewelry, you are certainly rich enough to have a big jewelry case that costs a mere $165,000. So this one, it kind of makes a little bit more sense if we think about, you know, like royalty and stuff like that. This would make sense for them because they have so many jewels that they need to keep track of. And so they need something like this to keep track of it. But I'm glad that it can be customized, because let me just tell you, if I'm going to spend this much money on something, although I love Gucci and I love the GG Supreme print, I don't want my jewelry covered in that. I think I'd want something a little bit more elegant, a little bit more classed up, but that's just me. So that is the full list of totally crazy, totally ridiculous, incredibly expensive luxury items that I have seen that I think are just a little wild. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made you laugh a little bit, or did it, I don't know, maybe it just made you rethink all of your life's decisions, because I don't know about you, I would never be able to afford anything on this list. So I don't know, I just need to go sit and think about what we have just witnessed from these luxury brands. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you could just give this video a little like, just give a little thumbs up down in the corner below. And if you haven't already, what are you doing? You need to subscribe to my channel, so that way you can get all my latest content about all things shopping delivered straight to you. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Lily, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, everyone.